This is one question that I've been thinking about quite a lot recently. The question is, what are we actually working on today? And I think this is a question that most drummers have faced, maybe even all musicians, but this video is mainly about drummers. And it's this thing where we sit down and we don't really have anything to practice. Or even if we do have material to practice, then it's like, well, how do we structure this? So often we might noodle or go for something you already know, or maybe half-heartedly try something new. The ultimate feeling is this sense of not really going anywhere. And it's not even like a skill problem, it's a context problem. And so I want to talk to you about something that I've been building in the background for the past year. But I want to go through my own story first of all, because this is ultimately where this idea came from. The first part was me as a student when I was a young kid. I didn't come from a musical family, and my drum teacher was the most local person who was a semi-retired IT guy who played in a blues band for fun. And, he was the person who put me onto the journey of drumming. And it was great because I remember having, sheet music on the stand, and I was really able to know what I was doing each session. And, we knew what the lesson was going to be each week, what to focus on, and it was very progressive in that way. The reason why it worked well for me was because I think I was quite good at self-correcting, and I pretty much went up every day to practice. Like I was never asked by my parents to go up. I just went up and I played because I had that fire in me. But the bigger questions I wish I'd been asked, even if I didn't really have an answer, I've just planted the seed, were, what do you practice, in what order, and are those two things helping you to lead where you want to be as a drummer? And I think maybe the teacher was answering those questions quietly, but they weren't being vocalized out loud. And then after a handful of years, I eventually paused teaching with him. We went our separate paths, and there was some time where I was going through my own practice and decided to direct myself. I had the kit, I had materials to work on, had ideas of what I wanted to do and where to head to. And I could still self-correct and all this sort of thing. But even then, even though I knew kind of roughly where I was going, there was still this sense of not knowing where I was going, which is kind of ironic. I just didn't know whether what I was doing in the moment was leading me to where I wanted to get to. And I didn't know if it was getting me there. This was the biggest frustration that I was having. And then more years went on, and I became a teacher full-time after the pandemic. And it started to bubble back up again, this frustration of seeing other students go through the same thing. And I knew that was my mission to give them the direction that I didn't have and try to get them to be the people who are good at directing themselves. Because even in between lessons, even though I gave people direction, there were still people who drifted in between. So there was this point where I realized, okay, it's not necessarily the material, it's everything in between. It's what you do before you sit down and after you finished practicing. And this is what ultimately my app is trying to solve. It's not the thing, what am I doing today? It's what am I building toward? It is the thing that I think people don't really talk about as often. It's quite easy to look at someone and they sound like they're playing and really know what they're doing. But underneath the surface, they feel lost. They feel like it's not really working out for them. And it's this moment where people get lost. I want the app to capture this gap where before people sit down to practice and after this practice session where people can capture their session. Because you can have all the resources in the world, but if you sit down and you're alone and you have to figure out for yourself, this is the bit where we're not really talking about much. And this is what the app is intending to do. As a matter of fact, it is powered by an Anthropic model called Claude AI. And this was mainly because after thinking about how I was going to build this thing, what was going to power it, it turned out that the autonomous side of things was really going to make this beneficial, because otherwise it's going to be very manually intensive to have to put everything together. So this is the technology that's powering it, but it doesn't feel like that. It doesn't feel like you're being talked to by a generic AI bot. This is something that I've built, and I wouldn't be building it to make it churn out some rubbish. It's going to churn out something which is really, really useful. It's going to help solve this actual problem for drummers out there. It's built on a system that is based on what I want it to be, how I'd want it to be, how I actually use it, using the same coaching logic and philosophies, using understanding the contexts of the practicing, understanding the catalogued practice sessions that each user is inputting. This is what is going to make the difference between a generic AI chat and what I've built. Riley will always know what your level is, all the sessions you've done, everything that you've logged, where you'll get stuck. She'll also be able to question you to get more specifics if you've entered something a bit vague. She'll want to know, like a real coach would, what you're thinking, what you're going through, to make sure that she can guide you in the right way, especially in between lessons. And ultimately, it's helping people to, self-correct themselves. It's, so when you log what actually happened, not what you planned, but what actually happened, over time the AI will start to pick up on these things. So the more detail, the more sessions you log, the better the products will be. At this point, it's time for a little demo. So this is the app. This is what it's going to look like if you were to download it. You tap on it, and then it will come up with your session. So I've already logged in here. I've already been through the onboarding, and today this is going to be the practice routine. This is a fresh routine, a new account, and I've pretended this person is a beginner. So Riley's just thinking. Here we go. So this is what you're going to see on the homepage. Riley's going to greet you. There's also an aspect here, what you're going to work on today, to be more specific. She's now got a question as well. Below it, it's still in beta mode, so there's still aspects of it which still need tweaking, but this is what you're essentially going to see. And then here, she's going to give you your routine, and you can click on it to expand it as well. If there's something that's off, you could also write to Riley to swap something or to add your own exercise. This is essentially what you see on the homepage, and then you can go start practice. So today I feel pretty good, and this is where you start to practice. If you need to take a pause, then you can take a pause and it will time how long you pause for, or you can resume. So let's say I've practiced for X amount of time. 10 seconds is not realistic, but let's say I've ended the session. Nice work. I'm going to say it went okay. It still went the same. I'm going to say it works on Wonmo Jin. Cool. I'm going to say my target was 64 BPM, but I hit 60. I did a few sets here, and I felt pretty good about it. Then here I said, I'm going to say make up something like able to hold the groove down, but couldn't hit the full speed today. We'll try again tomorrow. Cool, so I've done that in this fake session, saving it. Okay, sometimes Riley will leave you a note if she thinks that it's worth it. And sometimes a bit of a delay. So okay, so today she's decided not to leave me a note. And you can see here it's auto categorized for me. So that's an overview of what you would actually see as you'd go through it. If you have been thinking about a question similar to this, the question being, is what you're practicing leading you somewhere? If you've been questioning whether it's actually been effective, then it's worth trying it out. When you download it, links in the description, you do get 1 month free, and it's definitely no pressure. You can download it, subscribe to get the full experience, and then you can cancel it straight away if you really wanted to, just to try it out for 1 month. And this is the app. This is a video on everything that I wanted to share with you today. And if you try it out, drop it in the comments. If you try it out, I really hope that you get something out of it. That's all from me, and perhaps see you in a future video. But for now, keep drumming.